Hello and welcome into the Alabama Football Report. We got some news and rumors for you guys, and we're going to start off with one recruiting rumor swirling around Tuscaloosa, and that is the Tide the #1 favorite for two five-star cornerbacks. All right, so five-star cornerback Patrick Surtain Jr. and Tyson Campbell, teammates for American Heritage High School in Fort Lauderdale, both took their official visits to Alabama this past weekend, and the Tide made such an impression that they appear to be a lead for both. One source close to the program believes, quote, Alabama now leads for both cornerbacks. That's how confident the team is right now landing the premier DBs. However, a second source stated that he too believes Bama is a team to beat for both recruits, but he believes the cornerbacks don't want to play together in college like they did in high school. So we're giving this two bear hats. Sources believe Campbell is ultimately going to do his own thing and end up signing with either Georgia or Miami. But Alabama is in a good spot right now to land at least one of the two top targets at cornerback. All right, so you're seeing these Bear Bryant hats. What do these mean? So it's a scale for you guys, a rumor meter, if you will. 0 Bear hats means fake news, all right? No accuracy behind the report. 1 Bear Bryant hat is a Paul shouting out Phyllis from Mulga, which means it's pretty unlikely. 2 Bear Bryant hats, people are talking, we can't confirm, but where there is smoke, there is fire. 3 Bear Bryant hats means more probable than not, but our sources in Tuscaloosa are yet to confirm. And 4 Bear Bryant hats means roll Tide, ladies and gentlemen. It is a fact. All right, let's move on to rumor number 2. Did Jalen Hurts cut his signature locks? It is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. We're giving this a roll Tide. He went and took to Twitter to cut off his locks, made an announcement. He shaved off his signature dreadlocks, and because he told the world that it would be a direct result in Alabama's win in the title game, he made a promise and he stuck to that promise. Though Hurts is arguably the most visible player on Bama's roster, it would likely be an upset if he were to be the Crimson Tide starting quarterback in 2018. That honor, of course, is likely to go to national championship game hero Tua Tagovailoa. So I have a question for you guys. Who do you want to start at quarterback for Alabama come the 2018 season? Give me a heart if you think it's Tua time in Tuscaloosa from here on out, and give me a like if you think Jalen Hurts deserves the starting role next season. All right, hello and welcome back into your Alabama News and Rumors Roundup. I'm your host, Lena Bond. Let's go ahead and get into our third rumor for you guys, and it's a Brady versus Saban rumor. Can Brady not beat Saban? Well, we're giving this one 3 Bear Bryant hats because Tom Brady doesn't own a winning record against Saban, but he doesn't own a losing one either. When the two have clashed in the gridiron, it has come to a draw. Brady is 3-3 against Saban all time when Brady starts, 1-1 against him when he was quarterback at Michigan, and Saban was the head coach at Michigan State. They met again in the NFL when Brady and Saban split 4 games over 2 seasons in 2005 and 2006 when Brady led the Patriots and Saban was head coach of the Dolphins. See, guys, not even the best NFL quarterback is immune to Nick Saban. All right, those were your first 3 rumors. Let's get to a 4th one now. Was Locksley promoted to offensive coordinator for strictly recruiting reasons? All right, guys, we're giving this one 2 Bear Bryant heads because, yes, he is known to be a good recruiter, and Paul Feinbaum sure seems to think that he was just promoted for that reason, but we haven't heard it from Saban himself, so we're giving this 2 Bear Bryant hats. The SEC Network personality joined the guys on WJOX FM's opening drive for his weekly Birmingham radio spot on Monday morning, and the topic of the new Crimson Tide play caller was a popular one. Paul Feinbaum likes Alabama's decision to promote Mike Locksley as the Crimson Tide's new offensive coordinator, even if he thinks Nick Saban may have done it for reasons other than picking the person who can call the best plays for the Tide. What I hear and what I know about him is very positive, Feinbaum said of Locksley. Nick Saban made a pragmatic decision. He didn't listen to the critics and listen to the noise and didn't feel like he had to go out there and hire someone from a certain category. While it's hard to believe that a coach who just put the cherry on top of his 5th national title in 9 seasons could even have critics when it comes to staffing decisions, Locksley is the Crimson Tide's 4th offensive coordinator in a 13-month span. So stability is a fair concern. Feinbaum contended that Locksley, who was on the offensive staff for the championship in 2017, was the right choice to replace Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator Brian Daboll because of his recruiting abilities above all else. As of Monday, Alabama's recruiting class ranked number 2 in the SEC behind Georgia and number 5 in the nation according to 24/7 Sports composite rankings. Most teams would be thrilled with that ranking, but Feinbaum is right. That is just a tick from the nation's top spot, which has become an annual ritual for the Crimson Tide recruiting class under Nick Saban. All right, next rumor we have for you guys. Did Vikings fans want Tua time during the NFC Championship? Well, this is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. We're giving it a roll tide. So during the NFC Championship, Minnesota found themselves trailing 24-7 at halftime, and the Vikings gave up the final 24 points of the half. Case Keenum has also had 2 back-breaking turnovers, including a pick 6 during the game. So, naturally, that led the fans asking for Tua Vailoa and if he could come save the Vikings season, much like he did for Alabama in the second half of the national title game. And in the second half of the national title game, Tua Vailoa completed 14 of 24 passes through for 3 touchdowns as the Crimson Tide overcame a 13-point deficit. Minnesota trailed by 17 at the break, so maybe even Tua couldn't have led the Vikings back to a win. All right, last rumor we have for you guys. Did Alabama interview a father of a 5-star recruit for a staff opening? Well, this is a fact. We're giving this a roll tide for Bear Bryant hats because Alabama did recently interview Patrick Surtain, the father of Patrick Surtain Jr., 5-star cornerback, as I mentioned earlier. Alabama filled the vacant defensive backs coach position on Thursday as it was announced that Carl Scott, who was in the same position the last 2 seasons at Texas Tech, would be coming to Tuscaloosa. Per BamaInsider.com, there was another name that Nick Saban was interested in, and that was Patrick Surtain. Surtain said, "I met with all the people in the office and I met with Coach Saban and his staff. It was actually a great experience for him to even consider me. To be a defensive backs coach at Alabama would be a tremendous honor. Eventually, it may happen, but it was not the right time. Surtain, who is currently head coach at American Heritage High School in Florida, played 11 seasons at cornerback in the NFL, making 3 Pro Bowls and earning the 2002 NFL Alumni Defensive Back of the Year award. Also of interest to Saban and the Tide is the fact that Surtain's son, Patrick Surtain Jr., is the #1 quarterback and the #6 overall player in the 2018 recruiting class and is yet to commit to a school with signing day quickly approaching. If Surtain could have been hired on an on-field coaching role, his son would have been able to commit and play for the Crimson Tide. The elder Surtain made sure that they were not a package deal, however, stating, "That was the first thing I mentioned to Coach Saban. I told him I did not want it contingent on where Pat, his son, would go there or not. That wouldn't have been fair to him. Saban assured me that it wasn't. He interviewed me because he thought I would be a great defensive backs coach." All right, guys, and speaking of defensive coaches, we're going to take it now to an Alabama defensive coordinator hot board. We're yet to fill that position. So let's take a look at 3 potential names who could end up making that list. And we're going to take it to Gene Chizik, so the former Auburn head coach, who is also the defensive coordinator at UNC for the last few years. However, he has retired, but he has stated that'd be a position he'd be interested in. He was fired from Auburn, like I said, after a national championship, but the UNC defense that he took over ranked 118th nationally in 2014, then improved to 79th and then 71st in 2 seasons. Like I said, he did retire to spend more time with his family, so is it too soon for him to return to coaching? All right, next name we have on the list is Pete Golding. Now, he's the Alabama defensive assistant. Golding, who Alabama had already hired this offseason, does not have an official title yet other than defensive assistant, and Saban very well decided to give him the job. His UTSA defense gave up just 17 points per game last season, which ranked 7th in the country, proving his worth as one of the best defensive coordinators in the sport. All right, last name I want you guys to take a look at is Tosh Lupoi, Alabama linebackers coach and co-defensive coordinator last year. Lupoi is easily the favorite to take over this job. The 36-year-old is one of the best young coaches in the sport and was given the added title of co-defensive coordinator last season, along with quite a hefty raise. Lupoi is Alabama's best recruiter, and Saban has done whatever he could to keep him in Tuscaloosa. And that just very well may mean yet another promotion. All right, guys, that's all the time I have for you today. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Lena Bond Sports. And until next time, roll Tide.